What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, and let's shed some light on this, and better known as RideMyAvatar. And today I'm going to talk about the deck I took to locals as a test run experiment to see if it was actually worth it. And to be honest with you, I think the deck has a lot of potential, better known as Wargreymon style. So, unlike normal decks and normal positions, Black Wargreymon, the Greymon tribal theme has moved on to a point where it's quite interesting to see how the deck plays out, how it pans out, and how it's going to go about. So without further ado, let's talk about my tech choices, my decisions, and see if you guys would play it differently than I would. So without further ado, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Let's get into it. So let's go. First off, we have the Digitama. None other than Greymon, the beautiful Greymon. I love this card just because of its max rarity potential here. When attacking, if this Digimon has Omnimon or Greymon in its name, this card triggers draw 1. So, we like this combination here, which is not a bad card to play. 4 of, I think, is fine. You're never going to exceed it. In all my matchups, I never got to doing the 5th egg, up to a 4th egg, let alone, a 3rd egg. Sometimes 2 was just enough to really stabilize your board and threaten lethal. But for some players, maybe they didn't want the draw value. They're not really comfortable with drawing. There is another option you can play, is the Greymon from BT-9. So while this Digimon has Agumon or Greymon in its name, it gets plus 1000 DP. Excludes your, best friend Omnimon. But being able to give the extra 1000 DP, I can understand. Sometimes that magic number is all you need to get around certain things. But the deck hits magic numbers very easily. But sometimes you might need that extra 1000 DP if your line's not perfect. So I understand that. I feel comfortable enough with my line that I don't want to use the extra 1000 DP. I think the draw is a little more beneficial, especially if you have to promote up early and your stack's not optimized right away, and you can get a few turns of swings with some extra draw. Not a bad trade-off in my opinion. So I think this one is a little bit better in my opinion. Definitely was used in every single matchup. That draw was just gaining me advantage how I want it. Let's talk about the rookie lineup now. So first off, we have 4 of the new Agumon from BT-12 itself. Has a beautiful inheritable. So all turns while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, it gets plus 1000 DP. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name. And then 1 Tamer with Tai Kami in its name among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So, I think this card really definitely rounded out the deck. Now, since the deck has 12 beneficial searchers now in their rookie line, it's ridiculous. Sometimes it even gets ridiculous to the point, especially going second, if you don't have everything you need. All you have to do is slam down. Let's say you have an Agumon. They gave you 3 for the turn. Well, you could go Agumon here, then reveal, search the top, and then you could go into its Agumon X antibody version to draw you a card, and then search even more. So stuff like that does add up sometimes, and a well-timed play is really good. And the fact of, normally it'll cost 1 to Digivolve on a black Digitama, but if you Digivolve on top of one of your Greymons, it's for free. So it's not a bad trade-off to lock you into a certain playstyle, and I like that the later support kind of just like, you got to make sure you play it this way instead of that way. So that's very important. So 4 of them. Then we do have 4 of the BT-5 Agumon. Same thing, just because it's Agumon a name, but on play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 Digimon with Greymon and 1 Digimon with Omnimon in its name among them. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So, that being another searcher, same thing combination with the Agumon X antibody. If they give you 3, you can at least play out. It's not a bad trade-off there. And then finally, we do have Agumon X antibody itself. So the fact of being a really good rookie, just because it'll help you even in raising, Digivolve up, draw some more, gets you into having more protection stats and everything like that. But being able to on play or win Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You know the drill here. Add 1 card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and then 1 X antibody option among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So now you have a lot of filtering in this deck that's just basically easy filtering, in my opinion. So definitely worth it in what I like, and that searchability is really good. But another tech choice if you want to play, and I think is pretty decent, is the Agumon from Starter Deck 7. When attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, it gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. This isn't once per turn, so with Raid and the ability to restand your Digimon in any capacity, might be worth it, in my opinion. So, stuff like that does add up. It means something occasionally to some players. So, DP bonus swinging in is never terrible. Next, let's get into the Greymon lineup. First off, we are playing 3 Greymon. So this is BT-5 Greymon. So the reason why we're playing 3 of this is because when Digivolving, if this Digimon has Agumon in its Digi-Evolution, gain 1 memory. So this combos really nicely with the new tie, making this almost like a free Digi-Evolution. So if you can get it on the board, and it's definitely with your second stack, or even into a board building stack that you built on the board, this is definitely really good. But the fact of it also gives plus 2000 DP to Omni or Greymon really does matter in some circumstances. So being able to swing in really does help, especially with the lack of the evolution reduced costs of the Greymon X antibody. Now we have to make some compensation choices. I think this is not a bad choice to play at 3. I don't think playing any less is really the smart move, but I think this is just pretty solid there. You know, 3 Greymons, never terrible. Then we do have 3 Greymon X antibody. So this one is from, you know, BT9. Gives the protection by trashing 2 of the same level Digimon Digi-Evolution cards to prevent it from leaving play. So if it would be, you know, deleted or returned to hand or deck, you can just do that to give it some protection. Not a bad trade-off, and especially with early game, you could, if you have this right stack, you know, plus 2000 DP, 8k swinging, plus maybe it was a blocker, plus 1000 DP. Not a bad trade-off in my opinion. Very solid. I think giving the extra boost there is never bad. Then we do have 2 Greymon with security plus 1. So, why are we playing this card? Because sometimes you need to apply pressure that way. I mean, it's not bad, especially certain stacks, but I feel like anything more would just ruin your design. It did come up occasionally where I got some extra security checks in. Sometimes it didn't even matter. I mean, depends on the board state, depends on XYZ happening. So, definitely the extra security check can be nice, but I don't want to rely on it too much. So, that's something to think about there. Then we do play 1 of the restricted card, Greymon X Antibody. So this can Digivolve on top of any of your Greymons for 0. But your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the cost by 1 for each of its colors. So this definitely helps out in a little bit, and I'll explain more. But Greymon X Antibody, when this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted or returned to hand or deck, by placing 1 X antibody from this Digi-Evolution card at the bottom of the deck, prevent this Digimon leaving play. Not a bad trade-off in my opinion. I like it. I think being able to have that benefit of a small protection in the form of Greymon X antibody is never bad. And then finally, people are going to call me a madman, but we are playing 1 Greymon from BT-12. You guys might be going like, why are you not playing this at a full playset? The ability to play tie is so good. Well, I don't want to rely on this card. Yes, I can Digivolve and raising all I want to minimize playing ties. But the fact of being able to Digivolve on top of your level 3 Agumon in its name for a 2 cost, never bad. But when digivolving, if you don't have a tamer with Tai Kamiya in play, you may play one tamer card with Tai Kamiya's name from your hand without paying its cost. Then all turns when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, plus 1000 DP. I think it's not a bad card. Don't get me wrong. I don't rely on it as much. So it puts me in a better spot because I'm not slamming down tamers to be gobbled up, you know, or this is just basically, I'd rather use this as a, oh, they blew up my board, everything like that, but I have an Agumon and Raisin, let me promote this up, slam down the tie. You know, get stuff back into play. I don't want to rely on it in the way that others do. I think just one of is a good enough. I mean, you could play this at 0, and the deck will function quite nicely. Let's get into the ultimates themselves, but one last card we'll talk about in the champion line that you could possibly play. Some people think this card is really good. The fact of when attacking or once per turn, you may play one Tai Kamiya with a play cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. If you want to rely on that strat, you can definitely do that. You know, we have red level 3 playing by paying 2 memory. So, this is not a bad trade-off. It's not a bad Greymon in my opinion. But like I said before, I'm not relying on ties like this. I'm relying on different strats and different strategies. I did not want to rely on slamming down tie left and right. I went a different route. So, first off, let's talk about the ultimates. So, we are playing 4 Metal Greymon from, you know who, the BT-12 set. So, Raid Metal Greymon is one powerful card, to be honest with you. So, it can digivolve for 3 from a level 4 with Greymon in its name. No restrictions here. So, this means that, you know, Greymon X Antibody, digivolve this like this, only costs you 1 memory if this was the line of play. So it's not a bad trade-off there. But the fact of Raid is one of its powerful skills. All turns, when an attack target is switched, you may place 1 black or red tamer with a play cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. So there's other tamers I want to play. But while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, it gains piercing. So what we can take advantage of is some of its push potential with extra security checks. I mean, that's not terrible. It's always good to be in magic number range, but the fact of being able to raid, swing, play a tie, play a Yuya, or you play another different tie or something like that, depending on your list, being able to slam down a free tamer because this thing went like, oh, let me just swing in, and boom. That's how we wanted to play it a little bit. I think I rely more on this one's play skill than I do the Greymon. So, being able to pick and choose what cards I want, sometimes, again, certain cards don't always get you what you need right away. And I think this is pretty solid here. But we are also playing 3 Metal Greymon X Antibody. So, again, we'll take away this for a quick second. Why are we playing 3 Metal Greymon X Antibody? Well, I'm playing also another one of tech. But when digivolving, this Digimon gains security +1 until the end of your opponent's turn. Then, if this Digimon has Metal Greymon or X Antibody's Digi-Evolution, this Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of opponent's turn. That is huge because now you hit magic numbers that your opponent is not going to be comfortably hitting. So, that is going to be big. What you can do, which if you have an X Antibody under your stack here, you can swing in, raid, get your free tamer out, and then digivolve after all said and done, depending on what tamer you have. You'll digivolve into Metal Greymon X Antibody. Now that's free, extra security check, whip piercing with an extra 3000 DP. Means you hit magic numbers very easily, and most things will die to this trade-off. So I think that's really solid there, and it's just a nice tech, in my opinion. And then we do have Metal Greymon Alterius mode. So this can digivolve on top of your Metal Greymon, but this card is also treated as Metal Greymon. And then when digivolving, if you have a tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's 5000 DP or less. This came up in hunter matchups and stuff like that, where you want to blow up something they have on board so you get it under the tamer, so then afterwards you can blow up the tamer afterwards. So it's just really nice. And then it has the protection skill, just in case you don't get to Greymon easily. You know what I mean? So you go into metal, maybe you didn't have ways of going about what you wanted to do with raid. You know, you can just go into metal terrace mode on top of it, dig a little deeper, do some more damage, you know, just being able to clear board like that. And then finally, let's get in But. Another tech choice you could definitely play. I don't suggest it personally, but some people do like to still play this Metal Greymon. When Digivolving, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. Not bad trade-off. Sometimes de-Digivolving really does come up in certain circumstances. And then your turn, while this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine as traits, this can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. Some people like it. I don't think you need it because Raid is just such a great and powerful mechanic. But that's just me. Then let's get into the Wargreymon Rady Boys. So we are playing 3 Wargreymon Rady Boys. So you could play 4 if you want. I just chose to go and play 3. So Digivolves for 3 on top of any level 5 Metal Greymon in its name. So not bad. That means Alterius mode, all that fun stuff. And it's really good for that 3 cost. And it has Raid. But when Digivolving until the end of the opponent's turn, this Digimon gains 3000 DP and reboots. So being able to restand himself with his reboot on your opponent's turn can really do some damage, but that extra 3000 DP can do some nasty hits, in my opinion. Then all turns, when this attack target is switched, unsuspend this Digimon. So Raid will unsuspend him. His block, if you use the tie to give it blocker, you know, block, end that game right there and then. So stuff like that is really important, actually. So I think it's a really good card. I don't see myself playing maybe 4. I think 3 is a really solid number. I don't need it as much, but I like it. I like it. Then we do have Wargreymon X Antibody as a one-of, actually. Some people will call me crazy not playing more of this, but I think a one-of is just fine. Being able to Digivolve on top of your Wargreymon for 1. All turns, when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, gain 1 memory. You could definitely, with an X Antibody stack, after you swung in with Raid, swung in, you know, it's unsuspended. Boom. You know, go into this. Now that piercing is going to do some security check shenanigans, and your opponent's just going to be a bad day. And then you could just Blitz Omni for game that way. Not a bad trade-off. I think that's pretty solid. But what? So also it does have an attack if Wargreymon or X Antibodies Digievolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. So being able to remove threats off the board after all said and done, especially let's say you're playing against Beelzemon. They have the Balmon that basically plays another Beelzemon afterwards. After you swing into that first Balmon stack, they'll play their Beelzemon. Well, Wargreymon X Antibody, if you warped into it afterwards, does this check, all its shenanigans, end of attack, bloom, you blow it up. There's nothing on that board afterwards, and you kind of did a clean sweep. Not a bad trade-off, in my opinion. Then we do have Blitz Omni. So, if you don't know what Blitz Omni does, there are chances you won't know. But when Digivolving, Blitz. When Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon, and then all turns, if this Digimon's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its owner's hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 Digimon card, Digievolution card. Not bad for its protection skill, but being able to unsuspend and swing is never bad. So, all that good stuff there. And then we have Omnimon X Antibody. So, when Digivolving, when a Digimon with X Antibodies traits would Digivolve into this card, reduce the Digievolution card by 2. So it's not traits in its Digievolution, it's looking for the option. As long as the option's there, reduce it by 2. So, but when Digivolving, return all your opponent's Digimon at the highest level to the bottom of its owner's deck in any order, and then when Digivolving, when attacking, by placing one X Antibody level 6 card from this Digievolution card at the bottom of its owner's deck, reveal all your opponent's security, trash 1 card, place the rest at your opponent's security stack face down, and then shuffle your opponent's security stack. So, Not a bad trade-off. Can get you lethal because if they let's say you swung in, they only have one security left. Omnimon X removes it from the game. So what you could definitely play in the slots of the level 6 departments and stuff like that are quite a few cards in general. First off, we have Wargreymon itself. When digivolving, this Digimon gains security check +1. And then your turn, this effect does not activate security options checked. So, get in there, boom, all options are shut offline, and then you get a free win out of that deal. Not a bad trade-off. Not bad at all. What you can also play is Black Wargreymon. So, if you guys are in Tamer heavy formats and stuff like that, and you just want to get rid of annoying little buggers named, that have a Tamer name, let's say Hunters itself or Crossheart itself. If this Digimon has a red Digievolution card, okay. If this Digimon has a red Digievolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon. If this Digimon has black in his card, choose any number of your opponent's Tamers. Choose up to a play cost that adds up to being a 6 or less. Delete the chosen cards, and then all turns, you may, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, unsuspend this Digimon. It's a you may skill. So you have a choice on that. And then finally, Greymon. Greymon, not a bad card. This card, Digivolve, Blitz, Security +1. All the good stuff, reboot. Definitely applies some decent pressure that way. Not a bad trade-off in a 13,000 DP Digimon, especially being able to Digivolve and then just take out a couple security checks. Not a bad deal. Especially, let's say you are going for, raid Metal Greymon, X antibody into Greymon, Digivolve it, boom, security check +1, and then with piercing, blitz, reboot, the whole 9 yards, all that good stuff, and it's just a threat to deal with. So that's just pretty much solid there. Now let's get into the Tamer category real quick. So we have not one, but 3 Tai Kamiyas, the 3 play cost. Start a main phase, on play. If your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name, it gets +1000 DP and gains blocker until the end of opponent's turn. All turns when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name by suspending this Tamer, gain 1 memory. Not a bad trade-off. That gain 1 memory comes in clutch sometimes, especially if you want to memory choke your opponent or anything like that. It sorts numbers and makes it a lot easier for you. So 3 ties is not a bad deal. Then we do have 2 Yuya Koga. So this is, I'm not playing the 4-cost tie. You could play the 4-cost tie. But personally, I think being able to have this card is really good. Start a main phase. If you have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3. And then when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name, by suspending this Tamer, that Digimon gets +2000 DP until the end of opponent's turn. And if it digivolved into the same level Digimon, it's unaffected by your opponent's option until the end of opponent's turn. So what I do with Raid is I'll slam down Yuya with the Raid Metal Greymon. Then the X antibody will digivolve into the X version. If I already had a tie out, this will be the point where I suspended to gain the memory. And then this one will give it an extra 2000 DP and shut off options, making it now your opponent has less answers to this card. Your stack is going to be really beefy. So if you shut off their options, they don't have much else in resources to deal with it. So that is the goal there. You want to make it so that you don't have to worry about anything. So that's why I play 2 Yuya. And then we do play 2 Cool Boy. Cool Boy went from that 4 of to a 2 of. So I don't mind this. So on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with X antibody traits and 1 option with the X antibody in its traits among them. To your hand, place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. And then when one of your Digimon digivolves into the same level Digimon with X antibody and traits, you may suspend this Tamer, gain 1 memory, draw a card. Little friendly heads up. This does not affect the breeding area. There are some people that actually think that. So I want to prevent you from getting cheated. So this is super important. Being able to draw, gain the memory is super clutch. And it's not as valued as it was because Tie just does a lot more work, giving that free protect, blocker effect, free everything you want kind of status. So I think that's really good. Now, we also are playing not 1, but 3 X antibody option. So this is where the combo really does shine the most. So while you have a Digimon in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. Gain 1 memory, add this card to its owner's hand in security. So that's not bad if they hit it. But place this card as a bottom Digievolution card of one of your Digimon without X antibodies Digievolution cards. So this gives you the free value you want. And then all turns effects cannot trash X antibodies Digievolution cards, but it can be spun to the bottom of the deck. Keep that in mind. When attacking, if this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X antibodies traits from your hand for its Digievolution cost, not bad. Free value sometimes gets you free draws. Combos in, makes the Metal Greymon combo live and well. To my opinion, that is definitely worth it. Then we do play the I Hate Tamer package. So this is straight up, I hate tamers. You're not going to play anything. So when you would use this card, if you have a Digimon with X antibodies and Digievolution cards in play, reduce the cost by 2. So this becomes a 5 cost removal cost. Then choose any number of your opponent's Digimon and or tamers with a combined play cost that is less than or equal to the play cost of one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name. Then delete all those chosen cards, and then one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name may attack a player. And in security, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. So not a bad deal. Hades Force is really solid in security. Gaia Force in on-board control, definitely worth it. I don't think this needed to be hit because Cross Heart's a deck and Hunters is a deck. No matter what, you need to keep decks in control and checked. Yes, it sucks when your tamers, when you're not that focused of that deck, is getting blown up. But sometimes you need checks and balances in games, especially like this, to be able to keep decks like Hunters and Crossheart in check. So keep that in mind. And then finally, the last 2 cards, Red Memory Boost. This card is all about revealing the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 red Digimon card among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order, then place this card into the battle area. Delay gain 2 memory. So being able to gain that 2 memory is vital in my opinion. So this extends your plays, but it helps you dig a little deeper, giving you that search ability you want. To be honest with you, you want to be able to search your cards, your pieces out at times when your hand's not the best. I think 2 is fine. You could definitely play more. It depends on your ratios and what you want to do. So that's really worth it. And then finally, the last tech card we'll talk about is none other than Tai Kamiya himself, because you could definitely not care about Yuya, Kuga. So this will set you to 3 because of Memtemp setting. But all your red Digimon with 4 or more Digievolution cards gain security +1. So what I learned is that power is more vital than the extra damage. Because if I can keep my Digimon bigger than yours, especially with all your boosts and shenanigans, less likely mine's coming off the board. So giving that extra security +1 is nice if you want to try to rush your opponent down. But the problem comes down to is I feel like this card got short shafted for its potential once we got rid of Greymon X antibody from BT-11 got hit. I think being able to not be able to climb up as fast as we used to is hurting us more than it should. So stuff like this definitely changes up ratios, changes up deck potentials, and especially, like, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the hit to Greymon X antibody, I would be playing this card. Just because then I would focus more on the ties, slamming them down, getting them going, and just speeding clocks up. But because of the hit happen, I had to readjust and reevaluate cards, and I think the list I have is pretty solid. The things are that I wanted to keep in consideration was I faced 2 mirror matches and 1 Evil Hunters. The Evil Hunters I won't really count. The deck just doesn't have the same energy level, or potential as the normal Hunter's deck. That has a Restaurant focus. This one's focusing on Quartzmon. I can keep their Tamers on check most of the times and just get rid of them. But in the mirror matches, it came very vital on who promoted first. There was times I waited a full cycle because my opponent didn't have extra security checks going. They were only dealing me 1 damage. I waited for their DP to drop down back to normal levels. Then I would promote my stack up, then do my combo with more damage, clearing out their stack, and then my stack stays on the board a little bit longer. And then, they can't really promote their stack up a second time. They have to wait. And usually that's just enough for me to deal enough damage to them that I had games really set up. So a lot of it also became a lot of bait and chicken strats with the mirror match. You have to time everything right. Depends on what they give you. They give you 3 on your opening turn. You have Agumon X, Surge, dig deeper, get in there, and then worry about your raising. Because now you have a stack on board and then 1 here, and then you could instantly memory choke them with that Greymon I had. So being able to 1-cost evolve Greymon, main they're at 1, now they're struggling with what you gave them because they're most likely going to pass turn because they played the Agu. What else are they really going to do at that point? You could definitely raid them up. They'll Digivolve up, probably choke you to 1. Stuff like that. Try to mitigate some shenanigans. So it's just a lot of thinking, critical thinking about that mirror match is really important. But other matchups are kind of a little more in your favor. But it's not the most broken deck of the format. You can definitely counter it. You can definitely plan around it. So stuff like that. A lot of thinking, critical thinking, as a lot of these matchups are. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!